1. See a few people calling in sick stories, and this reminded me of a malicious compliance from my team. Many years ago, but the gist is there. When I was managing a retail team, I had a call from one of my team while I was in an early meeting with the company owner. I answered it and put it on speaker, just habit. "Hi Danny, what's up?" "Hey boss, not feeling well, so I won't make it in today." Now Danny sounds as chipper as can be, no croakiness or fatigue in his voice. "No worries, thanks for the notice. Rest up. If you don't think you'll make it in tomorrow, make sure you get a sick note clearing you for work if you can. You're clear on the policy, right?" "Will do. Hopefully see you tomorrow. Bye." Hang up the phone and go to resume meeting, and my boss starts grilling me. "Doesn't sound sick. What's even wrong with him? Your team mustn't respect you. Blah, blah, blah." Now, while Danny wasn't our best worker, he was up there, and the team and customers loved him. And him calling in sick was rare. And honestly, my feelings were a bit hurt by him telling me they didn't respect me. I wasn't long in that position, but I worked my way up there, and they all knew that. Proceeded to debate that my team's stats were brilliant per what the meeting was about, that I disagree about them not respecting me because he didn't feel the need to put on a voice. And the reality was that the matter was irrelevant. He was calling in sick. He's sick. He'd never even given me a reason not to trust him. I thought that was the end of it. Not quite. Next day, Danny comes in and the boss immediately calls him into his office. He starts giving Danny the talk. Commitment to the company. Sick days are for when you're sick and unable to work, and how he didn't sound sick. Danny starts grinning and just pulls up his sleeve, showing a very recently bandaged arm. "I'm not sure how I could sound to convey this over the phone. Should I have coughed? How many stitches does it take to give me a croaky voice?" I burst out laughing. Boss, to his credit, took it in his stride. He was usually a pretty good guy. Danny obviously told the team about it too. Now, whenever any of the team happened to call in sick, when they knew I had a meeting with the owner, it went like this. Becky calls.
"Sorry, boss. Won't make it in today." "Child has gastro, so need to take the day off to care for him."
Mitch calls. Very croaky voice.
"Can't make it in. Twisted my ankle. Need to stay off it for a few days."
Belle calls. Coughing and spluttering, and a fatigued voice.
"Not sure I'll make it in today. Heart won't start. Can I take toil to arrange repairs today?"
Cue the next staff all hands, usually beers and a barbecue in the car park, and talking about upcoming changes for the next quarter. Whereas part of that, the owner gives out the Best Acting Award, and also asks them to cut it out. I worked there for quite a few years. I knew the owner personally before I started working there. While the owner and I didn't always see eye to eye, he was usually a good guy. Just had some bad staff and managers in the past, and definitely needed more coffee that morning. 2. I booked accommodation 2 months in advance for St. Patrick's weekend in Dublin. It was a fairly decent B&B, but for €115, it was a place to sleep and the cheapest option for the busiest weekend of the year in Dublin. It was one double bed for me and a buddy to share. It was pay on arrival. 3 weeks before the stay, the accommodation manager messaged me on the app I booked the stay on, telling me there's a problem. I can no longer stay and to cancel on my side immediately. No apology, let alone help offered by them. This was followed by multiple phone calls daily along with text messages in a harassing nature, saying I need to cancel now so I can get my money back. Once again, it was pay on arrival. I didn't answer the calls or messages telling me to cancel. Something felt off, so I checked the listing for the night I was supposed to stay, and it just so happens the accommodation had been listed again for double the price. Likely the manager realized St. Patrick's weekend was a cash grab. Maybe not immediately, but at the property manager's request, I simply rang booking.com and told them I'd like to cancel my booking. The customer service rep asked why I was canceling. I explained in detail all the above to her, and things took an unexpected turn for the property manager. Ultimately, the rep agreed the property was acting in an unfair manner, and the solution was that Booking.com would find me accommodation within 1 kilometer. Originally, they tried to get me to stay way outside of the city, but I wasn't having it, of where I intended to stay. The original property would then be liable to cover any difference in cost. Here's the good part. Finding accommodation 3 weeks before St. Patrick's Day in Dublin is about as difficult as trying to light a fire with flint and steel in the rain, near impossible. Everything within a 1 km range was booked out except for a well-known 4-star hotel. The room alone cost €350 per night and had 2 double beds, much bigger room and in a nicer location. The customer rep had to get it cleared by her team lead, so I just sat on hold doing chores for 25 minutes. Eventually they came back and said it was all signed off on and they'll send me a special link. What a treat! I gladly accepted their compromise. This in turn meant the property owner that tried to force me to cancel on my end was now indebted €235, and we got a massive upgrade for the same price we originally had. I had to pay the $350 up front and had to keep receipts and show proof of payment to the booking partner after our stay, but got my refund of €235 the following week. 3. I work as an engineer for a company that assigns me to various client projects. For one such assignment, I was added to a project that wouldn't start for a few weeks. So in the meantime, I stayed focused on other ongoing work. A few days before the project was due to begin, the external project lead sent me a zip file containing technical documentation, diagrams, requirements, and other materials relevant to the upcoming project. I skimmed through it briefly, then moved on with my day, nothing unusual. A couple of days later, I got an email from the external company's scheduling manager saying that a document had been sent to me which apparently contained some confidential company information, and asking me to delete the email. That's it. No file name, no explanation, just a vague, "Please delete it." I shrugged and deleted the zip file and replied asking if they could resend it without the problematic part. Then I forgot all about it. That is until I got a call from the most condescending, passive-aggressive person I've ever dealt with. The scheduling manager from the client side. She went on a 30-minute tirade about how the previous project lead never should have sent me that document, how serious the situation was, and, most memorably, how she didn't trust that I had actually deleted it. I quote, "I can't just take your word for it. I'm not just going to trust you because you say so." Right. So, at that point, I figured, I'm done with you. If you're going to act like I've just been handed nuclear launch codes, then I'll treat it like I've just been handed nuclear launch codes. I said, "You're absolutely right. I'll contact our security operations team and report a formal security incident. They can coordinate with our SecOps team, and together we can do a full scrub of all the relevant mail servers to ensure the document is completely gone. It's really the only way to be certain." Suddenly her entire tone changed. "Oh, no, that won't be necessary. It's fine. I believe you." She practically stumbled over herself trying to shut it down, because escalating this to both company SecOps teams would have turned it into a bureaucratic nightmare, incident reports, compliance reviews, and probably someone getting thrown under the bus. I politely reiterated that I really didn't mind escalating it if it would give her peace of mind. She very quickly decided she had enough peace already. We ended the call and life moved on. If you act like I've compromised national security, don't be shocked when I offer to treat it like a national security incident. 4. Story is some months old already. In my job in the military, we get a decent number of extra hours when we work on the weekends, which normally doesn't happen too often due to the amount of personnel who can work on the weekends. Due to some mismanagement, parental leaves, etc., weekend workforce for this specific position now consisted of a maximum of 7 people. Therefore, as you can imagine, within some months, we all got a huge number of extra hours. The extra hours are normally per regulation to be taken in free time, but since we all know how that would end, we mostly get them paid out. in our new boss. He was all pro-family and pro-off time. So when we asked our new boss how he, boss, would like to proceed regarding the extra hours, he told us, "The regulation is to prioritize free time, not the money, so do that." He came from a country called genereated. So, to do that, 5 of us told him, boss on different occasions within the same week, that this will be a catastrophe, but he, boss, demanded that we take our time off. Cue malicious compliance. At the end of the month, we all submitted our time off requests to use up our extra hours, which our boss approved since we're now prioritizing our free time. Starting at the end of the month, we each had scheduled leave. The work schedules are planned monthly and approved about a week before the new month begins. Each of us had accumulated between 200 and 500 extra hours, jeepers, which meant we were taking anywhere from about 1 month, based on a 41-hour work week, to up to 11 weeks off, depending on the amount of time each person had built up. When our plans guy was coming around asking which weekend shifts we want to do, we all told him that we were having days off. He went full panic since the boss and boss obviously are waiting for a set plan by the end of the week. The solution was that people from other companies in the battalion had to come into our unit and work there for the weekends. After our scheduled leaves, we were allowed again to get our extra hours paid. Since our boss had a nice talk with our grand boss, had to use the term since I saw it in another post today, and the other bosses of the battalion complained. Sometimes the military is a fun space. Extra context, we also had to do night shifts Mondays to Fridays, but could leave while other personnel are on duty. So we came in at the end of the day and were on duty until the next morning. So that had to be compensated too. 5. Years ago, I was working on an IT contract with some of the worst managers I'd ever encountered. Malicious compliance. We discussed renewal of my 1-year contract and they said no, I was too junior. It was one of my first IT contracts, but they sent me an impossible task and demanded that I finish it in the few weeks I had until my contract ran out. I told them it was impossible, but they insisted they only needed a temporary solution, so I should be able to do it. If not, oh no, I'd face disciplinary action, and they would give me bad references for not being able to do the job because we're all forced to use references, right? Not like we could just leave them off the resume. So I complied and set myself to do it. But I do it with a bit of extra functionality. Like a sting in the tail. Here's the full story. They demanded I develop a system for them which was way out of scope for what I was being paid, and job description. It would require a huge amount of effort and stress. They said I can't get paid anything extra for it because it was only a temporary solution, and that at some stage in the future they'd get real professionals, ooh, kinky, to come in and set up a real and permanent solution. I did it anyway, out of a misguided, youthful sense of duty, and it was a massively good learning opportunity. But it took its toll on my mental health because of the bullying and threats, and zero gratitude when I delivered a fine product that surpassed everyone's dreams. I saved them hundreds of thousands of dollars in development costs, and my system immediately generated colossal revenues and savings. My contract ended, and they offered me an insulting bonus, way less than even my monthly rate, once again reminding me that it was only a temporary solution until they got a real project and dev team in place to build the real thing. But I turned the tables on them. I'd made sure from the start that all my code was inaccessible, and then I'd set a timer so that after a certain time period since my last login, the whole system stopped working. Instead, it would generate a continuous repeating error message, critical error, overclock collision, temporary solution no longer temporary. I heard it caused them a massive loss of business because my system had worked so well, they decided to keep it instead of getting something real, but never called me up to offer thanks or rewards. So when the director phoned me in desperation when it broke, I just said there was nothing I could do, as I was fully engaged at this time, and had no idea what the error was about. Must have been something they'd done. I was as friendly as can be, but basically put the phone down ASAP and ignored future calls. Except a few where I'd fake it, like, "Sorry, can't talk, just boarding a flight." Am I evil? No. In all the times they contacted me, they never once expressed recognition for my fine work, the huge benefits I'd brought them, and no regret for the disgusting way they'd bullied and threatened me while working for them. In fact, on the first call, the director still spoke to me in a bullying and threatening tone. He only started to get polite at the point where he realized I was about to put the phone down, after telling him I'm currently fully booked. That was one of my first ever contracts. They were so horrible to me. I was young and inexperienced, so didn't know how to deal with the situation at the time. I hear they finally got a real system, but it took 3 times longer to get it up and running than I'd done alone. And they'd hired 3 developers to do the work. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Revenge is Ice Cream, episode 415. And thank you very much to everyone who let me use their stories in this video. Please do like the video before you go, I appreciate that, and consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. If you would like to support the channel, you can do so through my Patreon page. There's a link to that in the description. For $1 or more if you wish a month, more is certainly appreciated. You can get access to all the videos early on Monday at once. Okie dokie, I don't think there's any more bits and bobs today, so let's move on to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is: when was the last time you inconvenienced yourself because you were in a rush? I did it yesterday. I had an appointment to keep yesterday, and it was a rescheduled version of an appointment I should have had a couple of weeks back, which was my own carelessness. I thought the appointment was on the 5th. It turned out it was on the 2nd. I didn't realize till the 3rd. And I called the people up and I explained, I'm so sorry I missed it, but they were very nice, and they rearranged the appointment with no problems for me for a couple of weeks after that. And so I was all prepped on that day. I'd made a note immediately of the time and date of the appointment, so I was ready to go. And then as I was getting ready that day, perfectly on time, I thought I'd better grab the letter that's got the information on it before I go. And I grabbed the letter, and I thought, oh crap, this says 1:45. I thought the appointment was 3:45. So I am then rushing like a mother fudger with ludicrous speed to get there, because I figure, well, maybe they'll still see me. So I get down there, and I'm so sorry I'm late, and I hear the lady at the desk mumble something about a couple of minutes. And so I sit down, and I'm taken very quickly. It turns out they had 3:45 on their system, and I didn't realize until I'd gotten home. What I'd done is I had grabbed the original letter. I had them both sitting together. I grabbed the original letter to take with me, and the time for that appointment was 1:45. So you've got to read things thoroughly to avoid messing things up. If I'd done that in the first place, the appointment would have been all over and done weeks ago. I had the second part of that appointment today. Of course, as often happens when I know I've got some sort of big meeting, I did not sleep the night before. So it was fun cycling all the way down there, hoping the brakes on my bike hold out. I really do need to upgrade the brakes on the bike. They will stop me. Just now it's just, it's tenuous. And I got there and got everything I needed to do done, and then headed home. And I'm pretty sure I bought groceries. I mean, there's chocolate in my fridge, which shows how sleepy I was, because I'm trying to be a good boy lately and not buy many sweet things. But somehow chocolate got into my shopping basket. I don't know how that happened. Okay, let me know what you think in a comment below. And before we go, let's take a look at the answer of the day from a previous video. And this one comes from Revenge is Ice Cream 413. And it was about words that you think you may be pronouncing wrong, but you've sort of made your peace with it. Oh, and I must say, I thought I was pronouncing Lidl wrong, because most people locally pronounce it Lidl. Turns out some folks, they vindicated me and said that was apparently correct for the German pronunciation, because that is good, yeah. Which reminds me, I will need to pop in there later in the week. There's a few things I have. I like these sandwich thins they do. It's like a flatbread type thing, but it's pre-sliced, a pack of 6. I've been buying those instead of a loaf of bread lately because it's slightly less calories and I'm cutting back on the calories. Anyway, that's enough rambling from me. Today's answer comes from Julie Abraham. I invented the word mental pause for a book I wrote, where the character was a teenage girl who heard the word menopause once and remembered it wrong. However, me being in my 50s, I'm convinced that mental pause is a more accurate word, and I like using it more than menopause. My doctors get a kick out of it, especially the ones who are also older women. And thank you very much for your answer, Julie Abraham. Well, that reminds me, I do sometimes say tinternet for internet, because I think I heard an old lady on TV once pronounce it that way, and it just stuck in my head. Tinternet. When you've had enough, just put it back in the tinternet and save it for later. And with that, I'm going to head off for now, so until next time, thank you very much for listening, and possibly watching, and take very good care of yourselves.